Good evening, everybody. Second round of our doubleheader. Great first act with Professor of People. Tonight we have 108 inches baseball talk. We're going to be in rapid fire. The show will end at approximately 9:20, so I have a lot to get to. I have a great crew to do it with. Back is my skipper, Mickey Calloway.
Hello, everyone.
How are you? How did your event go, by the way, Mr. Calloway?
Oh, it went great. Mississippi had a great showing. We went 3-0 with the 27 grads, and we hit a lot of bombs. It was really fun to watch.
So you know what that means with you, Mr. Calloway? I still get it.
Yeah, that's right.
There you
I
go.
didn't have to
All
do
right.
much though, like usual.
Oh, big deal. You won three more. We'll just add
Yeah,
that to your one loss record. So what?
that's right.
All right, Candy, you're back.
Thank you for having me back, Scott.
And we got my son, Eric Katz.
It's good to be back. Seems like I'm outnumbered tonight with two guys who wore the uniform.
There you go. And we have Mr. Clark. All right. Welcome back to the big show. George Eichhorn's going to be moved over to the Sports Exchange for a while. We need a veteran presence over there. I'll be bringing some fresh faces in there. George is a jack of all trades. We're glad that he's a part of our network, but he'll be on the Sports Exchange for a little while, and I'll keep moving people around. So this is what you have tonight. Stay tuned. We like to keep it real every Monday night anyways. No better way to start than with the Hall of Fame class. Ichiro Suzuki, Billy Wagner, CC Sabathia, Dick Allen, Dave Parker, the latest members. Skip, how would you assess that class?
Oh, I think that's a great class. Obviously, in my mind, all of those players are very deserving of the Hall of Fame, and all seem to be, and I know personally a few of them, just unbelievable individuals, and the Hall of Fame should be very excited to have them.
Well, here's what we got. Ichiro Suzuki should have been voted in 100%.
No doubt.
And whoever the heck didn't vote for him, as Gomer Pyle would say, shame, shame, shame. Gomer Pyle made it to 108 stitches baseball talk is a shame, shame, shame because some stupid writer. It's sad that Dave Parker and Dick Allen got in posthumously, although Dave Parker recently passed away, but at least he was able to write a nice poem that his son was able to go ahead with. TC, Sabathia, Billy Wagner, Ichiro Suzuki, not getting it any better than that, and let alone the fact that Ichiro Suzuki is the first Japanese player ever to make it to the Hall of Fame. That'll change eventually when you get Shohei Ohtani in there. I think one guy who should be in there should be Hideki Matsui at some point. Why he's not in there because he broke ground is another story, but we'll go from there. All right, Candy, what are your thoughts about the Hall of Fame class?
I think it was a very good class. I do feel really bad for Dave Parker and his family. You know, the fact that he knew he was getting in, but not actually being able to accept it since he passed away last month. But kudos to his son for stepping up the plate and making that speech and reading the poem that for that occasion. I mean, it's great to see Zucchero with all those hits. I mean, he was known for just always getting on base. Like CC, I have a little soft spot. Obviously, he did come to the Brewers for just part of a season, but he made his presence really felt, and he was really a team player because if any of you know this, he would pitch. He pitched a lot during that last half of the year. He would go a couple days in a row, even when they were going for the playoffs and the playoff run and stuff like that for the Brewers. So kudos to it's a good class.
Eric?
I mean, great class overall. I mean, it's getting bad, Scott, because a lot of the players getting into the Hall of Fame now, I grew up watching as a kid, so it's getting pretty bad now. And I mean, Ichiro, you can't go wrong there. The guy could go to bed and still hit the ball while laying down at home plate. That's just how special he was. And he was the first guy to come over. I think one of the first guys to come over from Japan, and people didn't think he'd become a star. And next thing you know, 262 hits later and numerous all-star games and other accolades. I mean, it does get much better than that. Also, CC Sabathia, I mean, I'm going to say, Scott, he's one of the last. He's one of the true becoming one. He's still really the last of his kind, where he was a give me the blanket ball kind of pitcher, And, I remember just seeing him countless times at Yankee games. For some reason, every Yankee game I went to, Sabathia was always pitching. And Dave Parker, unfortunate, should have been elected earlier. Also, Dick Allen definitely should have been elected earlier. I mean, Billy Wagner, another guy I remember, great closer for, he was, especially for the Astros, and I think he was a big part of that, their first World Series run in 2005. But, great class overall. I mean, I think the writers got this one right, but man, Ichiro should have been 100%, just like Mariano Rivera.
Okay. Well, also kneecap fighting Motor City Lions. Well, you know what? He's going to be returning to Fire Up on Thursday night. Welcome back to the network, kneecap. And Trent, I'll try to get you the notes if I can, but these are going to be simple topics, so don't worry, and I'll give you the transcript later on. Is that fair enough? Okay.
Perfect.
I'll do that. What we have is really simple stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and remain with a little bit of a Brewers theme. Josh Hader actually was 25 for 25 in save opportunities, which is an intangible for the Astros. Skip, what are your thoughts about the fact that the Astros are going to be relevant? They're going to need Josh Hader to do it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want the back of your bullpen to always be solid. If you're going to make a really good playoff run, your back of the bullpen has to be almost flawless, in my opinion. And the teams that have that and they put together and they, really do a good job of thinking how their bullpen can complement each other, those are the teams that really make a good run in the postseason if the rest of the team is playing well. So Hader's is going to have to step up. I have no doubt he will. He's nasty. I mean, I remember him facing us a few times, and it kind of feels deflating once he takes that mound and you're the opposing team, because you're like, well, we've got our hands full trying to score 1 or 2 or 3 runs off of this guy. So he's going to be great for him, and I have no doubt he'll do the same thing in the postseason. And it's been good to see 25 in a row. That's an amazing feat in and of itself. And I think the Astros are feeling pretty confident with their 9th inning guy right now.
Well, Candy's always one of your favorites with the Brewers. He's doing some pretty good stuff down in H-Town.
He's always done the good stuff. Like, he's had good stuff for a long time. There were a lot of us that were sad to see him, get traded and moved from the Brewers. But we also know that we're a small market team, and not that we could always afford, some of the guys that he's such a specialty. Like, he makes a lot of money, but he's not working like a lot of innings. So can the Milwaukee Brewers, a small market, afford that? Some would say yes, of course, but you also need to pay a lot of other players too. Kudos to him, because he's a really good guy too, not just a great pitcher. Good for him.
Eric.
I mean, I saw a great many games with Josh Hader pitching, so I'm very familiar with him. Obviously, he's always been a great closer. He's a guy high heat. He will dot you at the top of the zone at over 100 plus occasionally. But it's amazing nowadays how many games your bullpen really saves. Forget having the lead. What about when the game is tied or without the lead? It's amazing how much the bullpen factors into that, and sometimes the bullpen actually wins you the game, where it keeps it tied or a 1-run game, and you ultimately go on and win. But that's what Josh Hader's doing now. Obviously, he's been a great closer for a long time. I always say David Stearns, when he traded him, when the Brewers were clinging on to first place, I always say he was an idiot for doing that, and that was one of his rare blunders during his time running the Brewers front office. But good to see Hader doing it. Nice to see he's showing his worth. But better save some gas for the postseason, because I've seen countless pitchers who do amazing things during the regular season get absolutely destroyed in the postseason.
Trent, you have the final word. Well, I'll say something about it, but Trent, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, 25 or 25 kind of says it all, right? Like, he's, anyone throwing 100% from the back of the bullpen, man, it's a huge confidence boost for your team. He's already an intimidating guy coming from the left side. He's all over the place, man. Like, body parts are flying everywhere. The thing's coming at you 100 miles an hour. I wouldn't want to be in the box against this dude. Like, it's like not pretty, right? You're going in there and just absolute battle. So Mickey got a touchdown, man. You're 3 runs down. It's a wash, man. And the other thing that I love about Hader, man, he comes in at the zone too. He's not nibbling. Like, he's coming at you hard. He's coming in on hands. And and I think Kathy makes a great point too, in the fact that, hey, you got a Mario Rivera up too. Like, you got to show up in the playoffs and be that guy. But he's a pretty intimidating factor right now for an opposite club. And with those stats and his legacy of what he's done so far, what he did in Milwaukee, you got to love the guy.
All right, you know what? I'm going to go to the chat room real quick. I'm just going to say a quick word about this, and that's this. Okay, I want to Cliff Neal. I was on a show earlier today with MLB Fans 92, and these guys are some my newest talented guys. And on their show today, and we're going to actually promote it on. They've sent us the actual Golden Candy. We're going to put it up on our network. But Cliff, this is really great that he brought this up, and then I'll talk about Hader in a moment. Very good classes here. Next year's first ballot Hall of Fame doesn't seem stellar, and may be a good opportunity to look at guys like Carlos Beltran. I think of all the group guys he may get in. Andrew Jonas, I think, is a possibility. But on this show, we talked about Keith Hernandez, Don Mattingly, Dale Murphy. I didn't mention Kurt Schilling, Jeff Kent, and I did mention Lou Whitaker. If there's anybody that knows how to shoot himself in the foot about not getting in the Hall of Fame, Kurt Schilling's the guy, because he's telling you not to vote for him. If I ever want to call somebody a sickdom head on this show, it is Kurt Schilling. But I'm glad you brought that up. So I'll say this about Josh Hader. To me, the guy's electric. And the thing I like about Hader the most is the guy's not afraid to go 2 or 3 innings. And that's old school. We can talk about these 1-inning wonders, throwing all these heat, but Hader's the type of guy that could have survived in any era. That's why it's one thing he's got 25 for 25 saves. He gives you a little bit more depth there to save a bullpen by going a little bit deeper. Great stuff. So let's go back to kneecap fighting. It's like the fans freak out over a bad month of ball. We saw the Guardians, Mets, and Phillies rebound. Who thinks the Tigers and the Yankees won't? Absolutely. I mean, this thing is far from over. The only difference with the Tigers is they built themselves a pretty good cushion. So if you have one of these difficult situations, you're able to weather the storm a little. Good points by kneecap. All right, so as we continue on, Skip, this is a question that's only going to be for you only, and it's only for my manager. And that's this. Will Clark had strong words for Rafael Devers. Next time I see you in San Francisco, your ass will be on the field at first base, even if I have to grab you by the blank back of your neck and drag your ass out there. So we all know about it. And the follow-up on the whole story, Skip, is he ended up playing first base and starting to do it. It's one thing he didn't want to do it in Boston, but how do you like Will Clark mentioning this to Devers? Because Will Clark, to me, is one of those types of guy who's the most respectful athlete in the game of baseball, talking to Devers. This one only goes to my manager.
You know what? I don't mind it at all. I wish that we had that dynamic that was there back when I played, where you had the older veteran guys stepping up, putting the younger guys in their places if they needed to. And it's all about what is best for the team. And Will is doing this because he feels like this is what's best for the organization that he represents. And I love that kind of motivation. I wish somebody in the clubhouse that was actually on the team would have stepped up and maybe done that and said that to Rafi, because there's a way to do things and there's a way to not do things. And sometimes it's best done by a teammate. And in this kind of instance, with the way Will is and what he does for the organization, he's more like a teammate. All these special assistants that come in from time to time, we had one that was really good in Cleveland when I was a coach there, Jason Beret, and he ended up being our bullpen coach for a little bit. But when he was a special assistant, he was more like a player in that clubhouse where he could really help lead some of those young players and even the older players. Sometimes things have to be said, and a manager, it's almost impossible for a manager to do it. So coming from a player or a special assistant is a wonderful thing. And hopefully it lights a little bit of a fire into Rafi, and he realizes that, hey, maybe I've been a little bit of a prima donna and I need to kind of right this ship. I'm sure the next time Will Clark is in town, Rafi will be out there and listening. So I love what Will did, and I wish that kind of stuff went on a little bit more in the clubhouse at this time.
That's why you're the only one who got the word on it, because if anybody's lived it, it's definitely you. And I was glad that Will Clark did it. If there's anybody that I can really classify as a San Francisco Giant, Skip, it's definitely Will Clark. I would say he's Mr. Giant. In fact, on this show, a lot of these guys are asking me, why is it McCovey Cove and not Bonds Cove? You know what I said? Well, if you want Bonds Cove, you might as well call it Asterisk Cove, okay? And that is what I said on that show. And if you want to talk about Mays Cove, well, I think part of the reason why you ended up not having it that is because Willie Mays came there on the back end of his career and did a lot of his good work in New York. And that's why I signaled it there. But I had a good time on this show. I'm going to actually send a lot of you guys this show that I was on, because this guy here, Rob Morosco and Chris Pizzazio, I just call him Pizza. These guys are superstars. You guys are going to meet them at some point. These two guys are characters. If I ever saw it, in fact, I went on their show. These guys are absolutely phenomenal. You all get a chance to meet them. All right. Well, you know what? Skip and I once upon a time talked about Trevor Bauer. Guess what? We're doing it again. Trevor Bauer sent down to NPB minor leagues. Dana Yohama Basters, worst ERA 4.13 among 24 qualified starters in the Nippon Baseball League. Skip, we all saw the decline of Trevor Bauer. This is where it's come to. What are your thoughts about what's going on, Trevor? It's too bad. I still think he belongs in MLB, but this is not helping his cause to get back. But give me your thoughts about Trevor Bauer, Skip.
Well, I mean, first of all, obviously there's some really good pitching going on in the Japanese league right now for his 4.1 ERA to be the worst among qualified starters. That's almost insane. So the hitting must be down in Japan these days. But Trevor's in a tough spot. Obviously he wants to get back to the major leagues. He's very vocal about it. He is eligible to come back. And then you go over to Japan to try to show some of the teams, hey, I've still got it. He's been doing that for a couple of years, going around Mexico, Japan, and putting up really good numbers. Put up extremely good numbers in Mexico last year, and now all of a sudden he finds himself down in the minor leagues. From what I know of Trevor Bauer, he will come back and pitch back in the major leagues over there in Japan and do really well. This kid, he's a worker. That's one thing I will say about this guy is he's going to put the time in to right whatever's going wrong, and he's going to become better and better and make some adjustments. And I think he'll be back up there and pitching really well. Pitching is not an easy thing. Hitting is not an easy thing, and sometimes you go through slumps and ups and downs, and this is just a little bit of a down spot. From my experience playing overseas when I played in Korea, when you go over there and you sign to play in Asia, the expectations are exponential. So if you're not hitting 400 with a bunch of bombs or, making all-star teams, leading the league in wins and things like that, then you're going to get sent down pretty quick. Okay. So, unfortunately, he's in that spot right now for him. And I think he'll make his way back up there and kind of prove to them that he belongs back up in that, major leagues there in Japan. And you know what? Hey, the kid made a mistake. Everybody deserves a second chance, and I hope to see him back in the big leagues at some point. I know he's got a huge following on social media. There's tons of fans that want him back in the major leagues, and like we've talked about before, we do this for the fans, and I think at some point, if the fans raise enough cane, that he'll get back in Major League Baseball if he's not too old or whatever. It's going to be tough, though, because he's been out of it for so long now to go back and compete at the Major League level. It's totally different than Mexico, Japan, and what have you. But that would be a tough road. But I'd like to see him get that chance.
Well, I'll give his agent Rachel Luba a lot of credit. At least she's finding the guy work, anyways, and that's helping her build her business. Rachel Luba does a really good job. I understand the way she works is she charges by the hour, not by the amount. So Rachel's done a really good job marketing Trevor, and assigning him a good agent is what Rachel's doing. All right, Trent, pick it up.
Yeah, I think Mickey touched on a really good point, which is when you go across, you're the guy. Like it's such a big deal. They expect the American players and the players to come over from MLB if they're a foreign player here, but got time here, and then they're going over, whether they're Latin American or anything else. It is a first round draft choice kind of deal, right? Like all the expectations are on you. So really, anything over a 2 is like a loss to them, which is crazy, right? Like a 2.0 ERA. Like he's a great pitcher. I can't believe a 4.1 gets you down in the minors in Japan. I'm questioning the offense in that league because I don't know what the heck's going on. After watching MLB all weekend at stadiums with my son, man, there's a lot of mashing going on right now, man. There's a lot of, and I was at the Tigers game Friday night where Montero, I don't think he missed any bats, man. Like I was just like, I think they had 14 hits by the 5th inning, man. It was crazy, and Toronto put on a clinic. But when you go over there, Trevor's a great pitcher. If you miss that expectation, you might need a reset like that. And hopefully for Trevor, it's just a week or 2 reset, get back up there, get his focus back up on what he needs to do, because he does need to dominate. He needs to show that he owns Japan, so he gets that opportunity to come back here. And many players have done that. And as most of us know, like, we've seen this. A guy gets hot for 2 months, and all of a sudden throws up a 0.7 ERA for 2 months. Listen, he's hot. Trade deadline. You need somebody for the playoffs. Like, he's not. He's down but not out. I think Trevor's gonna be just fine.
All right, I've got a guy in New York MLB Talk. I was on their show today, so a lot of you folks that wonder what I was talking about earlier, please subscribe to their YouTube channel. These guys are absolutely phenomenal. They allowed me to promote my book. They allowed me to go ahead and talk baseball, and they are going to be commentators on this network, both of them. So they allowed me to promote my book, the website. These guys are, between Rob and Pizza, okay, these guys are A1 in my book. All right, Catsy, let's talk about Trevor.
We have 4.13. A lot of teams in baseball now would beg to have that kind of pitcher in their rotation, because that's like average in MLB. If you were like to average out every single pitcher's ERA, it would probably come out to something like that. But it's tough. I mean, even the great pitchers are going to get hit around from time to time. There's going to be times where unless your name is Paul Skeens, which you don't get hit around there very often, you're going to have games where you're just not throwing the ball well, and you look like the teetoters and Bugs Bunny. But here's the thing about Bauer, guys. I mean, yeah, he's getting work overseas, which, good for him being able to continue his career in baseball. But the fact of the matter is, the guy's 34 years old. The arm is starting to slow down a little bit. Unless you're Jimmy Morris and the rookie, where you estimate you're throwing 85, 86 miles an hour, and all of a sudden you clock that thing back up to like 96 to 98. The odds of you coming back in Major League Baseball are not very high. It's a young man's game. They're going with the guys who, especially nowadays, call it right or wrong. I think the average speed of pitch right now is about 92 miles an hour, give or take. Back in the day, it was like 89, which, that would make you an ace on a lot of team staffs. But they're looking at guys who can throw it 90 plus, with a few guys who's got an off-speed pitch who can just make that thing dance all over the place. But he's 34. He's not coming back. I mean, too much time missed, and his biggest problem is not what he was accused of, and obviously, was later everything that came with that mess. But the problem is he won't shut up. Domingo Germán, for example, had some serious problems with alcohol, and also I think he also hit his girlfriend or whatever, and still managed to pitch with the Pittsburgh Pirates for a little bit because he shut up and lay low. Trevor Bauer is not doing that. If you just shut up and lay low, you'll come back. For example, in football, Michael Vick shut up and lay low, and he got numerous opportunities to still play in the NFL. But the thing is, guys, I think Trevor Bauer has has burned every bridge he came across given what's happened to him, and I just don't see him coming back, especially given his age.
All right, let me go back to MLB talk. By the way, it is Rob Skip, and he's actually the Mets guy. He's going to be one of your future teammates. He'll be coming on the show in a matter of a few weeks and being a regular. Rob, you and Chris are still the best. And so for all you folks out there that look for New York MLB talk, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And they are now a partner of the South Florida Tribune as well. Candy, go ahead and talk about Trevor Bauer. Lots of other things to get to.
All of you guys make some good points. But I kind of want to lean towards Eric. I'm not sure at 34, knowing what he's been through, that any team will go out and want to take a chance on him at this point. We are seeing younger and younger and younger guys come through the system and really do well. I mean, like the Scoobals and the Skeens and and they're just young. And so I don't know that any team is going to take a chance on him. I mean, of course, there's always a possibility, but I'm not so sure that there's one out there that's going to do that. So we might have seen the last of him in MLB. I don't know.
Well, I hope he gets his second chance. Go ahead, Trent. You have the final word on it.
Well, I think a small market may take a chance on a flyer on his social market because he's a guy who could draw and sell tickets in the end. Like, he's going to draw in like a couple million followers. And so if he draws it in, a small market could jump on it. It's still a business.
I got one more thing, Scott,
go ahead,
on
Skip.
that. I think that obviously teams are staying away for a reason, and it's not his ability to pitch. On average, every major league team uses about 11 starters per season.
Okay.
And there's no way that there's 11 starters on every, major league team or an organization that are better than Trevor Bauer. So it's definitely, there's a little more to it. And the one thing I will say about Trevor is, people talk about the clubhouse presence and maybe he's a little bit of a cancer in the clubhouse. That was not my experience with Trevor at all. Is Trevor outspoken? Absolutely. But I will say this about him. I've never seen another pitcher help out his teammates with pitching and mechanics and things of this nature more than Trevor Bauer. He has such a passion for pitching. He loves to teach it. He is constantly in dialogue with all the guys on our team and helped a lot of our pitchers tremendously throughout. He helped me a lot. I learned a ton from him because he's into the science of it and stuff like that. So, if they think he's a clubhouse presence and a cancer in the clubhouse, I think they're mistaken. If they have other reasons, then that's their prerogative. But I'm with Trent. If a small market team signs him, not only are they going to get one of their best 5 pitchers in the organization, I don't know that he can be a number 1 or number 2 anymore, but definitely a number 5 or 6 or 7 if you're using 11 starters per year. But they will get some following for sure. Like Trent said, there's a couple million people that are going to be following Trevor Bauer with whatever team he plays for.
Well, I'll just say this. The only one not signable on the planet is Colin Kaepernick, period. He's the only one.
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer, come on, give him another chance. You mean to tell me this guy is better than what a lot is out there? Really? Seriously, really? I don't have George Eichhorn to kick around on this broadcast. So I need to get my really, seriously, really moments off my chest. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes. So Scott, every one of these kids that I'm working with these days from 17 down, I ask them, hey, who do you follow on social media to look at mechanics and things like that? And probably 99% of them say Trevor Bauer. So he's putting out good content. He knows how to pitch and he knows mechanics and biomechanics. And, he has a following like no other, in my opinion.
Well, I'm telling you, I hope he gets another chance. And full well, I believe in second chances. Anybody else want to comment on this? Candy, has everybody gotten their piece on this?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody knows I like to pull out bizarre stats out of my pocket. I got a good one for you. Ready? I'm sure the bizarre stat of the week is presented by South Florida Tribune, Mickey, anybody that wants to be part of the whole thing. But Juan Soto, 2025 salary, $61.9 million. The Marlins opening day roster, $47.9 million. If that isn't bad enough, the Miami Marlins are 8-1-1 in their last 10 series, 8 wins, 1 loss, and a split. First of all, Skip, two-part question. Your thoughts about what Juan Soto's done, and then the second part of the question, what do you think about those scrappy Marlins?
Yeah. I mean, Juan Soto is obviously a great hitter. He's going to hit, and he's going to have his up and downs like anybody else would. But this man can really hit. I'm sure he's not putting up the numbers he'd like to. Especially with this big, huge contract. That's a lot to live up to. I think that the point that kind of stands out to me is it really worth paying anyone that kind of salary to be on your team?
Yeah.
Is that really going to put you over the edge, or can you use some of that money, pay somebody half of that and get 2 guys, or use some of that money to better develop your players in the minor leagues? That is the secret to the Guardians, to the Rays, and all these teams that have these small markets. They're not putting as much money into the players, but what they're putting money into is, maybe let's call it research and development, right? They're feeding these guys the right way. The Guardians, when I was there coaching in that organization, they developed coaches, players. It was all about nutrition, getting every ounce of ability out of every player you possibly can. And then you end up having, the Jose Ramirez's and Corey Klubers and Carlos Carrasco's and Frankie Lindor's. And you're developing these players to be complete major league players. And now you can win at the major league level. So, it's hard to kind of figure out what the secret formula is, but some of these small market teams are doing a really good job of it.
All right, now your thoughts about what Marlins are doing. 8-1-1, and they came away. They won, I think, the last 3 or 4 series. They beat Milwaukee impressively. This team is looking good. We cover this team on a regular basis. This is not no typical fire sale that they went through this time. Peter Bendix, to me, deserves the Albert Einstein Award for what he's doing. But what are your thoughts about what the Marlins are doing? We're going to have more on them next week, but I just thought that this was interesting comparing Soto's salary, let alone to the entire salary of an entire team.
Right. Yeah. It's fun to see those type of teams succeed, right? You're in a market down there where there's not a ton of pressure. You can play without, any distractions pretty much. And once you get rolling, you can keep that rolling for a long time. So I love watching these young teams that succeed and start getting on a roll, and you start seeing them get better and better and get that confidence going. And all of a sudden, they turn into something for a few years. So I'm excited to see where the Marlins can get in the next few years. And obviously, like you said, Bendix is doing an amazing job to be able to get them going in the right direction.
So in the chat room, Chris says Marlins only 6 out of the last wild card spot. They're going to be very interesting to watch at the trade deadline. I still have a gut feeling that Sonny Alcantara is going to end up with the Mets. I made that prediction on that show earlier. I still feel they do. But the fact that they have so many good young prospects in that organization, normally it would be a catastrophic move. This may not be as cataclysmic of a move if they keep developing players at the rate that they're going. Candy, you've been following the Marlins for a while. First of all, your brief thoughts on Soto and what the Marlins are doing.
Do I think any one baseball player is worth that much money? No, but I don't think any sports player, the amount of money that some of these athletes are making is just unfathomable to me, but that's neither here nor there. Now, his salary compared to the Marlins, and then the success that the Marlins are having, when teams are having fun, when teams gel and they have the camaraderie and not the bickering and I'm better or I need more ball or anything. Those are the teams that have success because they're playing for each other and they're having fun doing it. They want to be playing and being out there. And I think sometimes that's why you see some of these small market teams have success. I know we're not talking about them, but I know Sunday's game, the Brewers won. They won with a late walk. Perkins had a hit to have the Brewers take the lead and win the game. After the game, the manager was crying because Perkins, who had that hit, had an injury and has been out for months before that. So to see a guy come back and do things like that, but to see a manager have that kind of emotion tells you about that team and how much they care for each other as a team. And I think sometimes, it's that raw emotion that you need to see out of teams and to see out of managers and players. And that's what helps propel and encourage teammates to do better and to have success. It's the New York teams that have, the pressure on them, and then they're all pressure, and then they go into these slumps, and they have more pressure, and everybody's talking about them. Well, it's the small market teams that people aren't talking about that don't have as much pressure, and then they can turn things around, and it's fun to see. It's fun to watch that kind of baseball.
Eric?
I mean, obviously, with what Juan Soto's doing right now, he's having a good year, no doubt. I mean, he's always obviously a tremendously talented player, but he kind of reminds me of what happened when Ken Griffey Jr. left the Mariners and went to the Reds. He wasn't nearly as good, but that was due in part to injuries. But I digress. But the Marlins this year, they seem to be coming of age a little bit. They got some guys in that team like Agustin Ramirez. They also have Kyle Stowers, who's kind of busted onto the scene out of nowhere. And he looks like a stud. Boy, I think Baltimore is really kicking themselves for trading him for Trevor Rogers. And and they've done a good job developing so far. Now, trading away Sandy, I don't think it'll be that bad because this team is not expecting to contend this year. I mean, it's nice to see them relevant, but I think, the prospects they'll get for him, I think will set them up better in the long run. I mean, Peter Bendix, I think finally the Marlins have done something right. It's not nearly the dysfunction, the chaos that was Jeffrey Loria and David Sampson. But it's good to see them. I'm hoping that the NL East gets a lot more competitive. And, I think the Marlins could easily be very Rays-like if they do it right.
I'll say this, and I'm going to give Clarky the last word on it. If you haven't heard of Clayton McCullough, this guy here is going to be one of the best managers in baseball, I say, in 2 or 3 years. I've worked with a guy, one of the most pleasant guys I've ever worked with in my years covering the game, and I've covered it for the better part of over 40 years, number one. And the second thing I'm going to add, then Clarky has a final word on it. The 2 times that the Marlins have won the World Championships, they went in as a wild card entry. Wild card, people. Wild card. Get in the tournament. Clark, you have the final word.
Yeah, don't bring up that 97 crap with me, Motor City. Don't bring it up.
But now that you brought it up, go ahead.
Bought. It was bought.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They got it.
So, listen, for me, like, one, I would have loved the stat. You think about one player, the model's bad. Like, and I heard all of you say it. All of you said team. You can't give one player that kind of money. Like, it's a bad formula because you're putting too much emphasis on him, and he's a good player. Is there any player worth $61 million a year? Like, it's bad business, right? Like, it's bad business. In our business, we talk about this, like, you can't have one client that's 90% of your revenue, because what happens if you lose that revenue? You're like, oh my gosh, we got no sales, and you're letting everybody go on the team. It's crazy. It's a bad model. So, when I look at that and you talk about the team, I wish we would have added the $110 million on the disabled list out in LA, right? Like, when you talk about these stats, how are we mucking this thing up? Like, it's crazy when we're not looking at the holistic approach. When you're a small market, and Mickey was there with the Angels in 2002, we're diving into that. You got to look at everything. And Cleveland had developed, like, they're looking at every lane in the pool, and they're developing each lane for what they need to do: nutrition, hitting, pitching. Think about everything, runners, how we're acting on the field, where we got coaches that we can be stronger here. Where's our weaknesses? Where's our strengths? Balancing it constantly. When you're a small market, you have to do all the small things. And so your attention to detail is much better. And And I'm back in that tribe, Dave, with the development of Russell Branyan, Sean Casey, Jeremy Burnett, Brian Giles, all of which had no influence in Cleveland and became all-stars with other programs on great trades that helped Cleveland shore up playoff contenders, trading these AAA superstars, and you got no position for them because you're solid in every position. You're looking across that lineup going, where would we put them? And they're great. You're dying to find that spot, but you can't move Russell Branyan in for who? Albert Bell? Like, come on, how are you going to do it? It's crazy. So it's a huge challenge, but when you develop those players, it creates value across the market. In Anaheim, we were so strong in 2002 because you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? We didn't have a lot of weak links. We were very solid throughout. We were also very healthy going into the finals. You're not losing key players like a Garrett Anderson or a Scott Erstad, Darren Erstad, or Benji Molina, your catcher. We got some great arms. You can't afford to lose like a young Lackey and some of the guys who are just making such a big impact. Mickey Callaway, you can't lose that guy, right? So when you have that, and you have everybody ready to go, they are physically fit, they're mentally, they're emotionally, they're morally conditioned for this. They are ready for what's about to happen, and they know exactly their role. The small market teams are very focused on that. And I think some of the big market that put in big money, they're like, the three guys who carry us, they got $75 million. And we've seen it time and time again. Great pitching will knock that out, and it's not going to be enough.
Well, the only thing I'll say about a number one, $61 million is a lot for one guy. Okay, it is. And Skip says, why don't you invest it in a couple other ways to get a little more balance on that roster?
Yeah.
Not how much money you spend, it's how you spend it wisely. So I'm with you all the way, Skip. Here's a little bit of information here, and that's this. Skip talked about Corey Kluber. Here's a little update for you. Kluber. Ready, Skip? The Cleveland Guardians hired the former veteran starter Corey Kluber as a special assistant for pitching. What are your thoughts about that hire, Skip?
Oh, I love it. Corey Kluber, obviously, two Cy Youngs when I was there, and he was a tremendous pitcher, probably one of the better pitchers in Cleveland Guardians history. So for him to get to go back and be around those young pitchers, and again, this is what we were talking about a minute ago. Cleveland will do anything and everything. They're not investing a ton of money in Corey Kluber anymore. They're going to pay him a very low salary. He's going to show up and he's going to make their young pitchers exponentially better. Right. That this is they're probably paying him, I don't know, a couple of $100,000. Doesn't have to dish out millions. You get Corey Kluber access for your young pitchers to come in there and get to pick a two-time Cy Young Award winner's brain. This is the kind of things that these small market teams do to put them in a position where they can get 2% better or 1% better every day. And that's the approach they take. And I love that Corey Kluber's back over there having an influence. These guys that had ultra success in the big leagues, to be able to go back, he doesn't have to do this. He made enough money where he can just stay at home. He's going back because he wants to help the young players and help out the organization that gave him so much. And I love this idea.
Anybody else want to add to this? I got a lot of other things I want to get to. Anybody else? Go ahead, Eric.
Corey Kluber, just great guy overall. Same guy day in and day out, whether he's hurt, whether he's pitching like a Cy Young caliber pitcher or he's got Tommy John surgery. Same guy day in and day out. And that's one thing you have to admire about him. I was happy when he had his moment in the sun when he was able to chuck a no-hitter for the New York Yankees, which was the first one in a really long time up to that point. But good for Cleveland. Cleveland's probably one of the smartest organizations in baseball. What they do a lot with a little. Shoot, the day's gonna come where they get that World Series ring when they break it. It's gonna happen. Every year they always have a chance. Whether it was, when Terry Francona was there, that 7:10 p.m. at night, that team had a chance every night. And the same can be said about Stephen Vogt. Same thing. Vogt's even become become a great manager himself, leading that team to the ALCS last season in his first year in the dugout. But gosh, who knows? Maybe Tanner Bybee, who's already a good pitcher. I think the guy could be with maybe picking some ideas from Kluber. The guy could be an all-star caliber pitcher. I think he can be, and maybe Shane Bieber, which I think Mickey remembers him as a very young pitcher. That guy could get back to Cy Young form. But man, good for Kluber. Happy he's back because he truly was the best pitcher on that staff at that moment in time.
All right, at one point we talked about
and his stuff really moved at the time. Wasn't going to overpower you, but his stuff moved.
All right, at one point we talked about women's professional softball, but now that we got Skip on the broadcast, we're going to go ahead and bring up a couple of numbers on his opinion. Kim Ming, obviously the commissioner of the league, but Athletes Unlimited, by the numbers, Commissioner Kim Ming, their opening numbers sold out 4 games, 2.6 million engagements on AUSL social channels, 4.4 million minutes viewed on MLB.com and MLB TV. The impressions on AUSL social channels were 48.2 million plus 167,499 social media followers. Skip, what are your thoughts about what Kim Ming is doing, and how do you like this league?
I think it's awesome. I mean, obviously, this is a chance for these girls to come out and shine. And I don't know how much softball you guys watch, but I got to go to a few Ole Miss softball games this year, and it's one of the most exciting things I've ever been to. I think that this is something that can really take off, and it's going to get a huge following because it is exciting. The WNBA, in my opinion, is not that exciting to watch, but you get these girls throwing the equivalent of 99 to 100 from 40 feet or whatever it is, and to see them play defense the way they do and hit the ball like they do, it is really exciting. So I'm excited to see what happens with all this, and it's awesome that Kim has put them in a really good situation. Obviously, they're really well run, and that's what it takes to obviously succeed. You got to have that leadership up at the top doing the right things, and it looks like they're on their way. And I've even had some softball players start to reach out to me for just general lessons, just to learn how to throw and things like that. So I think it's awesome, and what an exciting game this is. This game of softball.
Eric?
I mean, softball was how I got my start in sports. I was remember the original NPF league when I was there. I actually was a broadcaster when when they had me on for the internship when I was 20, and still in college. But yeah, it's great to see it's growing. It's great that they're marketing it, because it was one thing that league struggled with, and I think they've kind of righted the wrongs from that period of time, that they've been able to get more people and show them how great it was. I mean, I was fortunate enough when I was doing it to see the Monica Abbotts, the Kat Ostermans, the Natasha Watleys of the world, and see them play. But it's an exciting game. I mean, it's a little more quicker paced than baseball, but it's still equally as exciting, because, man, when you measure like the speed of a softball, because it's a bigger ball than a baseball, you can clock it up there. It's coming like Aroldis Chapman fast, believe me. But it's great to see what it's becoming. I'm hoping that they continue with the momentum, and I'm hoping that they continue to get the stars from the NCAA, because the College World Series is always huge every year, and I'm hoping that they can continue that and ride that wave.
Okay, Clarky, then Candy, and then Candy. After that, you go to a station break with us. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like Kathy mentioned it, but I find the College World Series that oftentimes I'm flipping over to the women's softball more than baseball sometimes. Like it's a fast game, and I like it. And I like it. Athletes, and I'm also a physically fit guy too. Like I like, that's my background, right? As a strength guy. So I like these athletes, how they're getting in shape, physically kind of playing the game a little different, and they really exploit that in the softball game. You could see the girls have changed. If I watch softball from 10 years and I look at the physicality of the athletes now, it's significant. And maybe it's just the way they changed uniforms and stuff that they're showcasing that. I don't know, but it's fast. It moves very quickly. There's a lot of strategy going on, which I dig a lot. And the tempo is very intense, which serves me. You know, I'm a football guy playing baseball, right? So for me, it's a lot of fun. So it's great to see them come out of the gate with some real nice wins. Got to build up momentum and keep going.
All right, Candy, you got the last word on this. We go to a station break.
You know, it's the sport I've actually played, and I've played lots of it. I played in high school. I played girls softball, so I played fast pitch. I've played both fast pitch and slow pitch. I was a pitcher in both leagues. I've played catcher in both leagues. I love it. I love the fact that women's sports has everyone's taken more of an interest in some of these women's sports, and they're gaining traction. And I love it because for years and years and years, we've always showcased the men's side of things, you know, baseball and football. And now you're starting to see more women in sports, whether it be in man sports or whether it be, you know, women's softball, WNBA, women's college basketball. I just love it. And yes, it is a very fast-paced game, and it is a lot of strategy, a lot of thinking, and you gotta know and react real quickly and stuff. But I love it. So with that, I'm going to do my station break. South Florida Tribune Publishing Company published a book, Lessons from the Microphone, tuning into the enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. It is written by our host, Scott, the Motor City Madmouth Morganroth. Talks about his 40-plus years and how old school media meets new school media. Get your copy today. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com, where there is a plethora of great content, so go check it out. If you like to listen to podcasts, you can find us wherever you get your podcast. And if you like baseball, you're in the right spot. Football is Tuesday nights. Wednesday and Thursday nights, you never know what you're going to get, except Scott does a hockey show called The Sports Wrap on Thursday night. And then, of course, he does a one-on-one interview show called The Motor City Madmouth. So go check out the YouTube channel. Go check out all those. And then, on top of all that, we did a little traveling. So go check out we're starting to put up some of the videos all the time about some of the travels that we had and some of the places we went. So go get the notification so you know when we're putting up more videos. And again, if you want to advertise or sponsor a show, call Scott 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Back to you, Scott.
All right. The only softball story I'm going to tell you right now is the most comical one. And then again, you guys know me well enough. Number one, it is the most expensive sport that I have ever played. And I'll tell you why it is the most expensive sport that I have ever played. I played softball for a home improvement team. And I used to dive for balls, barrel into fences. And that was in bed on the outfield grass. But when you're slow like I am, and people say I am slow, maybe not as bad as a turtle, but pretty darn close, and you're sliding into base paths, and you're tearing 7 or 8 pairs of pants during the course of the year, it seemed like every other week I had to buy a new pair of pants, and I quit after a while. So when you want to talk about me being fast, no. It was expensive. But it's a great sport, and I'm proud of anything that Kim Ng does, because whatever Kim Ng does, it turns into gold. And let alone the fact that, let's not forget, she even led the Marlins to the playoffs. There you go. All right, let's talk about the athletics, okay? The most expensive ticket in baseball, according to Bob Nightingale of USA Today, is $181 in West Sacramento with a 14,000-seat Suter Health Park. That's a lot of money, right? But I'll tell you what, though. Let's cushion the blow for this one. And I'll talk about what transpired over the weekend. Nick Kurtz went 6 for 6, although he did this in Houston, but he still was seen in a 14,000-seat stadium. But he goes 6 for 6 with 4 home runs, 6 runs, 8 RBI, 22-year-old rookie, one of the greatest games in baseball history, and he's the first rookie to record 4 home runs in a game. So, Skip, what are your thoughts about the ticket prices in Sacramento?
That's pretty steep. I don't know that I'd want to go pay that kind of money. To take my family to go see a baseball game. I wish overall that the ticket prices would go down and be a little bit more affordable. They're getting so much money that from TV revenue and things like that. That's where these owners make money, is from the TV, and then when they go to sell the team. So let's put the ticket prices down a little bit so a family of 4 can go see a game and not have to spend $400 or $500. It's kind of getting out of control. The gate money is 2 to 3, 4 million a game. And that's nothing, when you're paying someone 60. I mean, I think probably, Soto's making that one game or something. So let's cheapen up the ticket prices and let these young kids and these families go enjoy our America's pastime a little bit.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Souter Health Park in West Sacramento. Yeah, they don't have a lot. You think that's still a little bit steep over there?
Yeah, I've been over there. That's pretty steep.
Well, it's okay. There's a lot of money. I won't spend that kind of money. If I don't get a presidential, I'm not going anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's a different animal. So, all right. So the second half of the thing is, what are your thoughts about the accomplishments about what Nick Kurtz did over the weekend, and let alone the fact that the Houston Astros were outscored by the Athletics 32-7 in that series, and the Athletics swept the Astros as well. So let's talk about the Nick Kurtz part of the equation.
Yeah, I mean, what an awesome game. I mean, for the fans that are there that got to see that will not happen again in their lifetime. I mean, obviously anything's possible. It could happen next week, but more than likely that's not going to happen again in their lifetime. So what a treat for the fans to get to go and see a performance like that, once in a lifetime performance. So they had to be thrilled to get to sit there and watch a guy, go 6 for 6 with 4 homers. That's just incredible. The question to me is, how did they keep on pitching to this guy after the third one? I would have been pitching around him a little bit. That's crazy.
Yeah, about 4 home runs, Skip. Really? Seriously? Really?
That's
4
crazy.
home runs?
He did hit the last one off a position player, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Well, still 4 home runs. All right, Clarky. I guess you volunteered to go next. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first in Sacramento, listen, 14,000 seats, man. You're down on the field. There's not a bad seat in these ballparks. Mickey played in that league. Did great. Salt Lake dominated out there, and it's a fun ballpark to be in with 14,000 people, and they're looking for next year's heroes coming out typically in that AAA league. So to be able to see in a ballpark like that and go watch your Yankees and go watch your big powerhouse teams, that's just a bunch of fun. So I can understand how the ticket got to where it is. I'm in Mickey's camp. Why can't we bring this down and make it more affordable for a family? I think it's getting a little crazy. So on that side, I mean, we'll see how it goes when they go to Vegas. But for Kurtz, man, dude, this guy 6 for 6, and you don't get the cycle. That's what's crazy. You didn't get the triple, right? And so, man, when you think about a 4 home run guy, first of all, rookie, that's so cool. Man, it's the Bash brothers of Oklahoma or Oakland. You've got these just absolute McGuire, Canseco. You got Giambi. You got Reggie Jackson. I mean, these guys are storied home run hitters, and this guy's the guy. He's the only guy who's done 4 in a game over in Oakland. So it's pretty special, man. I mean, the guy can absolutely backspin the snot out of a baseball, man. Please do not get the ball above this guy's waist. It's wrong. Mick, as a pitcher, you got to be talking to your guys. I don't know if you got to burn up his laces or something. Do not get the ball up, man. And so it was fun to see, man. It's always storied when you see a kid like that. Anybody really 4 home runs. Come on, it's crazy. But it's just it's awesome to see. And by the way, we talked earlier in the show. Hey, the best way to not see Hader? Outscore a team 32-7. You're never going to see their closer. So that's a good way. Hater's sat all weekend, doing nothing, right? So God bless the A's. You figure something out. We don't want to see a hater. And if you're intimidated by him, go put up 32 runs and you don't have to see him.
That was great. I like that. All right, you quit while you're ahead there, Clarky. All right, Eric.
With the score given, Houston outscored the A's in that series. We all know baseball is a weird game sometimes. It's but because all that really matters is one team could have 10 hits and no runs, but you could have one hit and one run. Well, that one hit's the only thing that matters up there. That's how weird this game is. But yet we still love it. But 4 home runs, that's hard. I mean, you see, one guy hit 1 home run. Okay, whatever. Everyone does that. 2 home runs, big deal. But three and 4 home runs, man, you got everybody paying attention now. But man, I mean, people forget though that the A's can truly develop talent. They're really good at it. There's a reason they had those they have those windows within like 3 years where you're seeing them going to the postseason once in a while, win the division. That all thanks in part to Moneyball. But it's incredible what he did. I mean, especially against the Astros. I mean, who doesn't want that to happen to the Astros? But yeah, it's just it's awesome. And it's just great to see. I mean, but as far as ticket prices go, just lower them. I mean, we're all not made of money here, and our bills are going up as it is too. Don't raise our baseball tickets as well. But I remember when I was younger, it was cheap to go on the train. I think it was to Chicago. I think it was $10 round trip. I can't honestly remember. And then I don't know where I was sitting, probably about $25 because I didn't have any money at the time, but managed to get some together from summer jobs. But yeah, it's I'm hoping that they just kind of keep everything even. Although instead of going on the SeatGeek website of the world, you can always go on Facebook and find someone selling it. And if you don't need a parking pass, ask them to lower their ticket prices because you don't need the parking pass. I did that the other night. There's a hack for you to go to a game on a budget.
All right, but Eric, you're asking them to lower the ticket price. So let's check on those that are out back. All right, what was he going to say? All right, Candy, last word on this.
So let's start with Kurtz. 6 for 6. His double was almost another home run. So let's, a few inches short. Let's his 19 total bases tied Sean Green's MLB record from 2002. Let's just say, and they're the only players to record 6 hits and 4 home runs in the same game. Kurtz also became just the 9th player since 1900 to score 6 runs in a game. He is the 20th player in MLB history to hit 4 home runs in a game, and obviously the first Athletics. He's 22 years and 135 days old. He's by far the youngest member of the 4 home run club. He was drafted 4th out of Wake Forest last summer. He flew through the minors and made his major league debut on April 20th after just 20 contests at AAA. He is now hitting. He has 23 home runs, 59 RBs, in only 271 plate appearances. So 8.5% of the time he's hitting home runs. His 43 extra base hits are the most by a player through his first 66 career games since Joe DiMaggio back in 1936.
Whoa.
Kudos to him. Wow.
Yeah, that's a big wow.
Okay,
Wow.
That's amazing.
Two more topics.
I'll just quick talk about the ticket prices. There's too much. The average family can't go to the games. You need to either lower the ticket prices or give lower days, like do some kind of promotion that lowers ticket prices for some games so some of these families can attend more.
I have 2 topics I'm going to carry over for next week, but I have the 2 that we're going to go with to ride it out the rest of the way. Number 1, okay, Kyle Schwarber's 1,000th hit, the 319th home run, top Mark McGwire for most of that mark. What are your thoughts, Clarky, about what Kyle Schwarber did? You talked about McGwire, and now you got Kyle Schwarber, who obviously did what he did in the All-Star game, but this guy keeps whacking these bad boys out of the park, and now he set a different record of a different sort.
Yeah. He's just a clutch guy for me. Like he's he's a guy who just gets it done. He doesn't look like Mark McGwire, but like, man, when it's on the line, like Schwarber's a guy you want at the plate. He proved it with the Cubs. He's proved it with the Phillies. Like, man, I think, and I don't know Kyle very well, like I at all, really. He's I know he's a Big Ten kid, and so he's got a little Midwest root there, and but I watch him and I just go, man. As coaches, we always go like, hey, Scott Spezio, I'll take 10 more just like him. I think Kyle Schwarber's that kind of guy. Like, you're just like, I'll just take 10 more just like him because, he's not the fastest. Oh, he doesn't hit it the longest. He does, like, you know what? All he does is just show up and get her done, like, every day. And so when you got guys like that, you realize you can build teams and you can build championship teams around guys like that.
Catsy?
I mean, don't forget, though, Kyle Schwarber was with the Nationals and also the Boston Red Sox and was a big reason the Red Sox went to the postseason in 2021.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, because I'm sure the Cubs right now are feeling stupid right now that they non-tendered him. But yeah, I mean, the guy's a power hitter. The guy, people forget, the guy came back off a torn ACL and played in the World Series, incredibly enough, which, obviously medical advances now, but this is 2016 we're talking about. We're not quite there yet. But, power hitter, great. He's the heart and soul. He's the heart and soul of the Philadelphia Phillies. You can bat him lead off. You can put him anywhere you want in the lineup, and he will produce. The guy has an obscene amount of power. It's just incredible. You wouldn't think anything of it. You would think that a guy like him, would be a designated, would be like maybe a part-time designated hitter at best. But man, he is whacking comets left and right. I mean, he's a big reason for the Philadelphia Phillies' success the past few years, where just when people think that this team is not going anywhere every season, he's a big reason why, including whenever Bryce Harper gets hurt, he steps in and he just continues to rake. That's just what he does. But yeah, it's incredible seeing what he does, and that's all you need him to do. As Buddy Ryan once said, Chris Carter, all he does is catch touchdowns. Well, Kyle Schwarber, all he does is hit home runs, and it works.
Okay. Well, you know what? Taylor Phillips comes on here once and says Eugenio Suarez just recently got drilled in a hand with a pitch and left the game. All right, good to know. I think that's right. The Diamondbacks are playing the Tigers, so thanks for the update, Taylor. Appreciate it. He can see him on fire up on Thursday night. Skip, what are your thoughts about Mr. Schwarber?
Yeah, I'm with both these guys. I think that this guy is a great guy to have in the clubhouse. He's a tremendous individual, and he is super clutch. I know a lot of people these days don't believe in clutch and things like that. It's more just, oh, well, he just happened to be up at the time, but that is not true. I saw this kid in 2016, like Katsy said, he was injured. He was playing in AAA for like 2 weeks before the World Series, maybe not even that. So I had to do all of my advanced scouting, and I was watching his ABs in AAA, and I think he grounded out to second in every AB. And then he comes to the World Series. I'm like, guys, he's rusty. He hasn't played in quite some time. He's faced some AAA pitching. I think we're going to be able to handle him. Let's pitch him this, and this way. And he comes out and he gets some of their biggest hits of the World Series for them. Just right out of bed, hardly any practice, hardly any reps. He comes out and he's one of their best hitters in the lineup. And that's the kind of player he is. And obviously when he puts the swing on the ball, there's a good chance, a 30% chance it's going to be a homer. So, you have to be very careful with him. But to me, he's kind of like a Mike Napoli. When we had Napoli in 16, clubhouse guy, not going to hit for a huge average, but is going to pop a homer every now and again. But the presence in the lineup is something to deal with. And the presence in the clubhouse is even a greater thing for a team. And I think that's why Kyle Schwarber is so special in this game.
Can I jump in there? Because let me jump in there. That's such a good point. Like, you get guys like this. I saw Knapp over the weekend, coaching now with the Reds. And, like Knapp's Mickey's catcher. in AAA, by the way, for a lot of the year in 2002 when we were a world championship team. And he's a great player, and he can't break the club because you got Benji Molina as a starter, right? Like, and Napoli's this good, bad. He's this good guy. But you're back to that solid lineup. Where do you find a place for a guy? He ends up making a place for himself, right? Ultimately, because guys do that. I'm going to disagree with Katzy on one thing about Schwarber. Schwarber's hit for power everywhere, but Schwarber has to barrel up to hit for power. You know, I watched the Kurtzy guy, like he's missing balls and hitting them 390, 410. Like he's like, oh, I popped that up. Oh, I popped it up 425. He's got this nice swing. He's a monster. So he's missing balls. You know, Schwarber has to barrel it up to go deep. And he does it all the time. So like, God love him. Like he's very good at it. But like, it tells you how special he is and how well he's prepared for any mistake. Like he's a pitcher's nightmare, man. If you make a mistake, he's going to hurt you.
I'll say this: we'll have a chance to get to see him in a few weeks here with the Marlins. Okay, Candy, you have the last word on it. Unless Cassie has one last thing, we have one more topic we're going to get to, and then we'll carry 3 over next week. Thanks for hopping in, Bo, and Michigan Sports Group. We'll be more happy to say hello to George Eichhorn for you. All right, Cassie, if you have a quick comment to wrap it, then we have one more topic. Go ahead, Cassie.
Well, part of that too is he's got a very level swing. I mean, he somehow knows how to straighten that thing up, and if that ball ends up belt high, the odds are it's going to end up in the right field bleachers because he's got a very level swing, and he's able to center the ball, and then he just lifts it over. And part of that too is just the guy's just ripped.
Okay, Candy, final word. One more topic to go.
So he played college baseball for Indiana Hoosiers. He was first round selected in the 2014 MLB draft by the Cubs. He's known for his powerful, hard-hitting home runs and his high walk rate, in contrast to his low batting average. But he led the National League in home runs during his 2022 debut season with the Phillies. And he played with the team during the 2022 World Series, earning him his second All-Star appearance and his first Silver Slugger Award. You know, he's fun to watch. Like, he just has this funness about it. I don't know. Can't quite put it on him, but he's got this attitude that you just want to watch and you want to root for him. Like, there are guys that you like, oh, I can't stand you. I don't care what team you're on. I'm never going to root for you. But he's a guy that, like, he could be on any team and you're still going to root for him. And I don't know why necessarily, but he's just one of those guys that you want to see have great success. So kudos to him, and hopefully he'll have much more success yet. Well, not against my team.
Well, I'll just say that he's a likable personality, hits a lot of home runs, and then you have 2 of those things going for you. That's not the worst thing in the world. Final topic of the night. And this one goes to AARP, okay? On May 7, 2010, Jamie Moyer, 47, at that time becomes the oldest pitcher to toss a shutout as the Phillies defeat the Braves 7-0. Scat! What are your thoughts about a guy like him going out there and tossing a shutout at age 47? We're going to call him the George Blanda of baseball?
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, that's 3 years younger than I am right now, and I can't even imagine going out there and throwing 5 pitches full speed, much less try to throw a complete game shutout. I mean, I couldn't do that when I was in my prime. But, you know, Jamie Moyer was always fun for me to watch, right? I loved that he had to pitch. And I love guys that go out there and pitch. One of my favorite pitchers to watch when I was in New York was Jason Vargas. Okay. Out there, 85, mixing it up, going 5 innings. I love watching the Jamie Moyers of the world pitch. It's fascinating to me, and I think it's amazing for someone to do that at 47. That's just insane.
Okay, Candy, we don't need stats. AARP, what do you think of that accomplishment?
Good for him. Kudos for him to be able to accomplish that at the age. That tells you something, that it's not always about the youngness in the league, but it's also about mind and where you're putting your pitchers. And one last thing, it's also about being on your game on that day. Like, you know it. When you go out there and you start throwing and you're having success and you're feeling it, you know it. And kudos for the manager to not go to analytics and say, I got to pull you out early, because we've seen that too often. But When a pitcher is on, leave them in. Let them go.
All right, Clark, even.
Well, Mickey, first of all, Jamie was topping out at about 76 that night. So,
Yeah.
I don't know about bringing heat.
It's awesome.
Clinic and pitching. Hey, what most people don't know about Jamie Moyer is his father-in-law is Digger Phelps, the longtime basketball coach at Notre Dame.
Mhm.
Maybe Digger gave him a little pump-up speech before that game, get him going. And I think also, I can't believe you didn't. James got a longtime brewer. Like he's a brew crew guy. I can't believe you didn't drop that either. But hey, this guy's been the same guy since he was 25, always knowing how to pitch, very well prepared, a mental game beyond most pitchers, coming in from the left side, coming in at like 4 different angles. Like nobody's ever comfortable. You watch the hitters. No one gets good swings, man. I'm watching a game Friday night, man, and guys are like lifting that front knee chest high and just mashing balls. Like I'm like going, everybody's comfortable. Like this is crazy. And then when you watch Jamie Moyer, man, you're on your back foot. You're sliding too far forward in the box. He's catching you early and you're coming back. No one is getting a good swing on him. And when you're watching a pitcher like that, you love it, man. If he's on your team, you love it. It's awesome.
Yeah, Jamie Moore is a heck of a pitcher. The fact that he can throw any type of off-speed pitch.
Hey, I knew a guy like that, Motor City. He used to do this shit all the time. His name is Mickey Calloway. He get hit like this, and he start dialing you up and start getting you in and out, and no one's on balance, man. He could do it too. He could do it.
What a beautiful thing. You guys are teammates on the show. You knew a guy like that. Oh, never! As Keith Jackson would say. Final word goes to Eric Katz. I'm happy for Jamie Moyer. I'm glad we wrapped it up with him on this topic. After Eric's done, everybody goes ahead and gets about 30 seconds to promote themselves. So go ahead, Eric.
I mean, we talk about the Randy Johnsons and the Pedro Martinezes and the Roger Clemens of the world, but Jamie Moyer was right there too. I mean, he was probably the most frustrating guy to face because you know what's coming, and you think you got him, and you think you're going to have a big day at the plate that day. But no, this guy adjusted as you adjusted. He was one of the few guys that could actually do that at the time. While other guys were relying on he relied on finesse and off-speed stuff, particularly his changeup, which was like just impossible to hit. There's a couple stories too. There were some radio guys saying they could hit Jamie Moyer, and Jamie Moyer called in saying no, you couldn't. And his son in the back of the car. He's driving pretty fast, whatever. And his son asked him, "How come you don't throw that fast?" And he's just like, "I don't pitch like that." But he's one of the few guys that could adjust as you adjusted. And if you had Jamie Moyer doing that, it was going to be a long day for you at the plate because I can think of countless sluggers who you think would have a field day on him and end up going 0 for 4 or end up sombreroing it. I mean, he was just that good.
All right. Well, great stuff, everybody. Eric, 30 seconds. How can they get a hold of you?
You can follow me on my Twitter at Sports Team News and follow me on my blog at bellyupsports.com where I talk about all things baseball. And if you think I don't like your team, yes, I don't like your team.
All right, Clarky, give everybody a Cliff Notes version of the book.
Yeah, Leading Winning Teams, published by Wiley. Check it out. Pick it up. You can find me at Trent@leadershipity.com. My podcast, Winners Find a Way, and new podcast coming out, Winning Ways. Super excited about that from the educational perspective. But reach out to me anytime.
All right, Skip, what are you doing?
I don't promote anything, so I don't really have social media. But I don't want to leave everybody with this thought. Jamie Moyer in today's game would never get a chance to pitch in the big league ever, and he threw at 47 through a shutout. That is a shame that our game has gone this way. There's not a scout, a player development guy that would stick their neck out for a guy throwing 80 miles per hour to go pitch in the big leagues, and I think that's kind of sad.
Yeah, but I think what's kind of nice is the fact that you do baseball lessons, and you are going to talk about that for like 20 seconds. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm teaching lessons. I was able to go and coach the Futures game, the Mississippi Futures team, the 27 grads, and we went 3-0 this weekend in Atlanta and had a blast. So I'm really enjoying myself, enjoying the baseball life as usual, and I'm staying really, really busy. So it's the life.
And we enjoy having you on 108 Stitches Baseball Talk every Monday night. I'm talking about you every day. that you're one of my biggest catches all year, and that everybody is starting to really look forward to watching you every Monday night here on 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. So, Skip, we're glad you're a part of our team. Candy, put the book up. We got about 20 seconds to do a go ahead and a cliff note.
Lessons from the Microphone, Tuning in the Enduring Wisdom of Visionary Leaders, written by our host, Scott the Motor City Mad Mouth Morgan Roth. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Kindle, Google, and Apple Books. There's also a link on our website, www.southfloridatribune.com. Catch us wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe. Hit the notifications. Advertise. Call Scott, 954-304-4941. And if you want to be a guest on the show or have topic ideas, you can always email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. And yes, I can talk as fast as you, Scott. Ha!
That was impressive. That was
Google's
fastball.
I'm really rubbing off on this girl. Oh my God, everybody's gonna think I'm brainwashed.
Well
This
done.
girl. All I'm gonna say
awesome.
is I am proud of this entire crew. You guys are awesome, baby. Everybody.
Yep.
Guess what? We get to do it again next Monday night. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Amazing.
I love
Thanks,
you guys, gals. Skip, you know how I feel about you, my brother. Clarky, Cats, you guys are what they are. Candy, well, you're Rolls Royce of women. What can I say? But that said, that does it for this edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. We'll bring you more information next week, and I have a few carryover topics from this week that we'll be able to provide the allotted time to do it. With that said, that does conclude this edition of 108 Stitches Baseball Talk. On behalf of my managers, Nikki Calloway, Candy, Eric Katz, and Trent Clark, we want to thank you very much for joining us. Great action in the chat room. We will see you next week. God bless everybody, and have yourself a great baseball week. We have a lot more to throw at you next week. Pun intended. Yes. Good night, everybody.